There are films that entertain, and then there are films that quietly burrow into the culture and never leave. Jeremiah Johnson is the second kind. What most people don't realize is how many hidden layers lie beneath that snow-covered surface. The story behind the story is just as fascinating as anything on screen. It starts with a name that never existed. The historical figure at the heart of this legend wasn't called Jeremiah, and his last name wasn't quite Johnson either. The real man was John Garrison Johnston, born in New Jersey around 1824, a fur trapper and scout who spent decades navigating the Rocky Mountains. He served as a Union Army scout during the Civil War, later worked as a town marshal, and died in 1900 at a veteran's home far from the wilderness that defined him. Over the years, the stories surrounding him grew and mutated the way frontier legends always do, each retelling adding new layers of exaggeration until the real man became almost impossible to find beneath the myth. The name Jeremiah was a deliberate invention, chosen for its biblical weight, evoking Old Testament prophets who withdrew into wilderness and emerged transformed. From the first frame, this wasn't a biography. It was a legend being built in real time. To bring that legend to life, the production team ventured into Utah's Wasatch Mountains in the dead of winter, and the conditions were punishing. Temperatures dropped well below freezing. Equipment failed overnight. Supply runs turned into logistical ordeals. Crew members faced genuine risks: frostbite, altitude sickness, exhaustion. Medical help was hours away. But these hardships weren't problems to overcome. They were ingredients. Every labored breath visible in the frozen air, every authentic reaction to biting cold, all of it fed directly into what ended up on screen. Robert Redford made that authenticity personal. He refused stunt doubles for physical work, learned period-accurate trapping techniques, and put himself into genuinely difficult situations because he believed real performance required real experience. It showed. Audiences saw competence that couldn't be faked. Redford's involvement had nearly not happened. Before he attached himself, the project had passed through multiple forms with various casting possibilities. Action-oriented stars would have demanded more violence and cleaner moral lines. A different kind of actor might have made the whole film bleaker. Redford's combination of physical presence and introspective sensibility gave director Sidney Pollack the commercial cover to take genuine artistic risks, including extended silent sequences and moral ambiguity that challenged everything the Western genre typically delivered. The screenplay itself emerged from a collision between two very different source materials, one a revenge-driven frontier narrative, the other a philosophical meditation on solitude and spiritual change. Neither alone could have produced this film. The development process was turbulent, with writers coming and going and studio pressure pushing toward safer ground, before the philosophical edge that made the story distinctive was finally restored. The final script let violence and quiet coexist without either canceling the other out. That balance extended to the film's portrayal of Native American characters, an area where most Westerns of the era failed completely. Rather than simple antagonists or noble symbols, tribes were given real motivations and legitimate grievances. Cultural collision was shown from multiple perspectives. It's a significant reason the film has aged more gracefully than most of its contemporaries. The long, dialogue-free sequences of the protagonist moving through wilderness weren't purely artistic choices either. Remote locations limited filming options, and weather frequently determined what was possible. Pollack leaned into these constraints rather than fighting them, using travel sequences to build atmosphere and establish the meditative rhythm of frontier life. The mountains weren't just a backdrop, they were a participant. Weather reflected emotional states. Seasonal shifts marked psychological turning points. Nature in this film isn't conquered. It's negotiated with. That combination of artistic ambition and authenticity produced something unexpected at the box office. Made for roughly $3 million, the film earned more than 14 times that figure. Younger audiences responded to its countercultural undercurrent. The idea of walking away from civilization felt genuinely resonant. The film also competed at the Cannes Film Festival, earning recognition normally reserved for European art cinema, which reframed how it was perceived globally and helped it find audiences well beyond the traditional Western fanbase. And then there's the ending. A brief, wordless exchange, a simple nod between two figures who have moved through shared history, became one of cinema's most enduring images, not at the time of release, but decades later when the internet discovered it. That small gesture, repurposed as a universal expression of quiet acknowledgement, traveled across social media and introduced an entire generation to a film they might never have sought out otherwise. Many of them eventually went looking, and found something they didn't expect. What they found was a film operating on multiple levels at once. On the surface, a survival story. Beneath that, a meditation on grief and slow psychological transformation. And beneath that, something closer to a spiritual journey, with imagery of snow, seasons, loss, and renewal building toward a conclusion that offers not triumph but acceptance. The mountain doesn't care about your past. It will test you, break things in you, and if you survive long enough, offer a kind of clarity that civilization rarely permits. That's what this film is ultimately about. The legend was invented. The experience it creates is not.